Hey, this is Erin Stern for PKTP, and this is Abs Are Made in the Kitchen. On today's episode, we're going to be making a spicy beef slider recipe. This can be a staple of meal prep because it's super easy, and by changing a few of the ingredients gives you a ton of different variations. Today, we'll start with something simple, and then in the blog, I can give you some suggestions on how to either spice it up or change the flavor profile completely. So, in this glass bowl, I've got about a pound of 92.8 lean beef. To this bowl, we're going to be adding some binders. Now, when you're working with really lean beef or lean meat in general, it's important to bind it together, which is going to help obviously hold it together on the grill or on the stovetop. And it's also going to help give it some moisture because, as we all know, lean meats have a tendency to dry out. So we're going to combat that in two ways. We're going to add binders, we're going to add a little bit of good fats, and then we're going to add flavor in the form of spices. So let's get started. Now, I've got my skillet here. It's a cast iron skillet, and I've put a good amount of coconut oil in it to make sure that the burgers do not stick, because that's the last thing you want is burgers to stick to anything. And I'm gonna go ahead and set it to medium heat. Now, to this bowl here, I'm going to add one large egg. This is one of the binders. This is gonna help hold everything together. And I just add the whole egg. It's nice omega-3 fats and can help with satiety. And we all need fats to fight inflammation and for recovery. So, I've got some onion flakes. This is dried onion flakes. This is something else that's going to help add flavor and then also provide a binder. I'm going to add about a tablespoon of that, give or take, so you can add more or less depending on how much you like onions. If you don't like them at all, that's fine, simply omit them. We've got some dried, grated Romano Parmesan cheese, and this is going to be about a quarter of a cup. This is another binder. The cheese is of course going to melt slightly as you cook it, and it's going to help everything stick together, and then it's going to be delicious, because who doesn't love cheese? Okay, now I'm going to add about a half a teaspoon of salt, about a half a teaspoon of pepper. Now, flavor-wise, this is something that's a bit of a specialty item. You can add just regular garlic powder or omit the garlic if you don't like it, but this is roasted garlic powder, and I add about a teaspoon of that. Now, here's one of the opportunities for variety. This is harissa paste. This is a Moroccan spicy paste. It's got a tomato base to it. If you can't find harissa, don't worry about it. Go ahead and substitute with either no sugar added tomato sauce, or you can use salsa. Salsa is a really good way to make it kind of a Southwestern style burger. So with this, I'm gonna add about 2 tablespoons. And that's gonna help give it juicy flavor, and it's gonna help it retain some of the moisture. So I'm going to mix this all together. Make sure that you mix it until the ingredients are really well incorporated, but you don't want to over mix it. Now, if you mix it within an inch of its life, it is just going to get really dry and rubbery. So mix it until everything is incorporated, and then I'm going to shape these into 4 evenly sized patties. So the burgers have cooked for 5 minutes on each side, and they're a beautiful golden brown. Notice that when I grab the skillet, I've got this silicone elbow glove thing, and that's to protect my hands. When the cast iron skillet gets hot, the entire thing gets hot. So just a word of caution. And if you can look closely, you'll see beautiful char on that burger, and it made 4 good-sized burgers. If you want to make them into sliders, go ahead and divide that into 8 equally sized little burgers, and then you could have 2 as 1 portion. So that's it for this time. Thanks for watching. Until next time, eat well, y'all.